Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, my name is Dave Teich, and I'm presenting for the Roosevelt Environmental Commission. This is our dessert and discussion monthly series, and you can't see the desserts right now, but I'll send you a picture because if you don't care about recycling, you should at least care about cheesecake, because we've got like world-class cheesecake over there. So I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I've come across, and this kind of, you may have seen this flyer at the post office, and this is the one that kind of got me intrigued because it was telling us what you can recycle in Roosevelt and what you can't. Roosevelt being a very, very small community, we don't have the most robust recycling pickup. You know, we do what we can afford. In particular, the only plastics we take are number 1 and number 2, and I'll talk about what all the numbers are in a minute. But there's a lot of things that you can't recycle in Roosevelt. Plastic bags, you know, plastic to-go containers, a lot of plastics, plastic film, pizza boxes, styrofoam. So we're going to talk a little bit about what all these things mean, the numbers of the plastics, and what you can do with the things that you can't recycle. So I have some images on the screen. I don't know which will be better to show. I'll probably walk back and forth to show you what is what. What we do accept in Roosevelt is any kind of, most recycling places, any kind of glass bottles. Steel and aluminum cans, including the label, okay? And including the steel caps also, the metal caps, they'll take. Most, we get any kind of corrugated brown cardboard, plain stuff like this, toilet paper rolls. I don't know what just fell, but it's probably not important.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
about that cardboard?
Yes.
Are you supposed to take all the tape off? I try to do that, but sometimes
You're supposed
I
to,
can't.
but yeah, I try to. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah, and then just put it in anyway if you've got
I
most
do
of it
put
off?
I put it in anyway. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but you know, I'll have to look that up. They'll take that. Some containers have very specific instructions on them, and this is relatively new to me. Yeah, where it's telling you, you know, specifically what you can take. You can, you know, you have a paper box and a plastic tray. You discard this, rinse this, you know, so there's different things that go along with it. Plastic bags, plastic films goes separately. Now some of these bags will say on them, it says store drop-off. Okay, this was also something new that I learned, store drop-off. You can take these, I'm going to take this over to McCaffrey's or Walmart or ShopRite or Kohl's. It's just out in their lobby. You take it there, you drop it off.
I take all the paper,
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
and I think Home Depot is still taking it.
So, you know, if you're retired and you've got some time, you know, this is what you do. So yes, and then this goes in trash. This goes through just mountains of material, not just your sort of, I mean, we all get lots of packaging. Either we use Ziploc bags or plastic film, and even if you don't, if you're getting something in the mail, you're going to get packaging that has to be recycled. And this just goes through everything from plastic bags to tires to hazardous waste, you know, of course, large appliances and things. I mean, this covers everything. Styrofoam, it does give a couple of places for styrofoam recycling. Ink, toner, batteries, things like that, you can take to Staples. In general, if you're looking for where to recycle things and you just Google, where do I recycle batteries, you'll get some good leads to go on.
Well, I would just say in the municipal recycling, according to the flyer, in my understanding, they're really saying, if you're not sure, throw it away.
Yes, that's right.
So, and the municipal recycling, we could be cited, in theory, if we contaminate the with
They-
items that are not appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, according to the flyer here, it's if you, placing even a small amount of items in recyclables that are the wrong items can cause the entire truckload to be rejected. And, in reading about some of these things, I understand that. Even when you recycle glass, you can recycle glass, but you can't recycle ceramic, okay? Because ceramic will take a lot longer to melt down than glass will, and then it'll screw up the whole burning process. So you can't recycle aluminum foil, although you can recycle aluminum cans. So whatever processes they're using are, it pays to know a little bit about it so you know what you're doing. What we use in our house, this is from a company called Furio, F-U-R-I-O, and these are trash bags for kitchen trash bags. It's made out of recycled plant-based material. I don't know what the plant is. So it's a trash bag. So it's just an alternative to Glad bags or other commercially mass-produced.
That's biodegradable?
Yeah. For wrapping foods, we have a number of different things. Beeswrap. Okay, beeswrap is cloth that's soaked in beeswax, and it works very. This one's probably kind of a little bit worn out, but it works well. It sticks to itself the way plastic film would. You can wash it off. You can't use it for raw meat. You actually can't really use it for any kind of meat, fish, chicken, but you can use it for fresh vegetables, that kind of thing. That works pretty well. Also use silicone bags. Of course, these are a little more expensive, but they're reusable. They go in the dishwasher. Sell us stuff that some of it works, shopping for vegetables, instead of using the bag they have in the store. Though a lot of times now, some of them, they say they're, the roll of bags they have are supposedly, whether, there's a difference. Some things are made out of recycled materials, but that doesn't mean that they in turn are recyclable. Some are, some aren't. But, this is the same company that makes these silicone bags. It's net zero.
They also, I read an interesting article about cotton bags and the environmental impact of producing cotton that argued that plastic might be better on the margin for the response to which it was, I'm going to get as much mileage as I can out of the bags I currently have, because that's a sunk cost.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about these bags is you can reuse them, and it's very difficult to reuse a plastic bag.
Yeah. Paper towels, we do use them, but more often we try to use, you just get a bundle of these things. These work really well. They're very absorbent. I don't exactly know what they're called.
Microfiber.
Quickie, microfiber? Yeah. They sell them
I'm
at
not sure what they're called, but
usually Home Depot and auto supply stores.
yeah, and
Get a
they're,
store.
Get a
Yeah.
bundle of
And-
10,000,
yeah, you can get 20 of them for,
yeah.
I don't know, these I've had so long, I'm not sure what they cost now. But, and you just throw them in the wash, and if they get too grubby, you just throw them away.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever thrown any away.
So I have a mystery question. I'm not sure you can answer it, but for instance, in the county document, it says keep liquids out of the recycling bin. But my understanding is if you have a lid on your recycling bin here, they won't take it. So if it's raining on pickup day, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
What I did was I got some 1-inch hole saw bits. I drilled holes in the bottom of my recycling container. Because yes, it'll fill up with water, it'll freeze, it's just a wreck.
Yeah.
So I would drill holes in the bottom.
And then you have to put all the recyclables upside down.
I see, so it catches rain or something?
Yeah. Because, we've had bins left because we left the lids on, and they refused to take the lids off. But If it's snowing or raining, it's,
I never.
plus stuff blows everywhere.
Okay, I didn't, yeah, it does, I didn't know about that. This, okay, now that's a giant, that's a box that is probably half the size of this table. Okay, and, you know, what I do is I break it down, I
Right.
try to show them that I'm working with them, you know? Things like this, which is kind of a compressed cardboard, great stuff for kids. I would be making little army man forts with it and things like that. We have occasionally used them for planting seeds, growing seedlings. They don't last that long, they get wet and kind of fall apart, but you can just take these and plant, not something this big, but some of the smaller ones you can just plant in the ground as is. Styrofoam. Again, this is monster stuff, you know. I've been working on my tool inventory lately, so some of these big tools come in these huge boxes. And I haven't checked with the UPS store or pack mail or one of the, it seems like a lot of the mailing stores will take this or will take packing peanuts. So I'm going to look into that. Repurposing. Now this is a project we did with Ellen, and everybody might have some different story about what you do with recycled stuff. I know Carol saves newspapers and gives them to me because I'm a wood burner and I need something to start the fire. So that's one obvious thing. Jugs like this have a lot of different uses. You can poke holes in them and use them as watering cans. This is a project we did back in December or January. I remember you were there. It was very cold. I remember that. It was freezing. And there were things that you plant in the winter. And so these have a little slit in them. It's got some dirt in there. And there are things that you do plant in that freezing weather. And then you just, it's kind of a little mini greenhouse. You get some sun in there. So there are a number of gardening projects you can do with recycled material. This, I don't know if you can really tell what that is if you weren't here. That's a spotted lanternfly trap, which we worked on here in dessert and discussion last month. And this is the mouths of two, same kind of plastic gallon here. You cut off the mouth of the jug and a little bit of the shoulder. You glue two of them together. It's a big operation. You put a plastic bag on it. It's got a screen on the bottom. You tack it to a tree, and this traps spotted lanternflies. I believe there's a video on the Roosevelt YouTube. We have a YouTube channel now, the Environmental Commission. This one has like 3 instructions on it. It's what is it? Puff pastry.
Crossed out 2 of them.
It's puff pastry, yes, because it's a box which you can recycle, but then there's a bag inside the box which has the pastry. But when you unroll the pastry, it's got a card in there. So there's 3 different things.
So yes, no, no.
Yeah.
It's enough to make you not want to use puff pastry.
I don't know. To me, it's like a game. I enjoy it.
Yeah, you would.
Yes, yes, I would.
Of course you do.
Of course. Now, here, this, I brought some. I figured I'm going to bring recycled materials to use as plates and forks and that kind of things. But it's really interesting. You got to watch what you're buying. Now, this is first of all, you can see there's aluminum cups in the middle here, which sounds pretty interesting, but they cost about 60 cents per cup. So it's really kind of, this stuff gets expensive. The items that I did buy, made by a company called repurpose.com. I figured, well, the name like repurpose.com. It is made out of 85% waste, or it's made from plants. It says it's compostable, but here's where you have to be careful, because it's compostable, but it's, let's see, do I have it? Do I have I don't know if you can see that in the center here. It's commercially compostable. Okay, so you can't just take these forks and throw them in your compost heap. They have to go to a commercial composting facility, which there aren't that many of them.
probably mashing thousands of them at one
Yes,
time and
yeah.
making it easier.
And for me to show up with my, 12 forks, they're, no.
I wanna help save the world.
Yeah, so that was kind of a gotcha, but it's still, it says, now this is BPI compostable, which means commercially compostable only, and facilities may not exist in your area. And there's a certification number, but it is a certified bio-based product. It's made from plants and from recycled material. I wanted to open it up to see if anybody had any experience, suggestions, questions, creative ideas.
Well, one thing, I mean, we have a home in New Hampshire, and we find that there are differences. So for instance, at the dump there, we have to drop our trash off ourselves, and they only recycle a few things, but they will take batteries. So we save our batteries here to take up there, because I know they say to put them in the trash, but I just hope that the bucket I put them in there, so we'll have a better future for them than, what I'm sure is being burned here.
Yeah.
So, you can network with friends and family, and if people have access. There's another thing there, I mean, there's a hardware store that keeps one of those commercial, Hillary, what is the company that recycles?
TerraCycle?
TerraCycle. They have a TerraCycle box that you can put electronics in, small electronics.
Okay.
So, if we have old, small electrical appliances, then we just put them in a bin and wait until we're there to recycle them there. And then we give our business to that hardware store.
Yes.
So, you can, for some of these niche items, you might be able to find a way to cache them and recycle them more successfully than leaving them in the trash.
Well, it actually looks like Millstone Township has a broader recycling program, so we have to start bringing stuff
So
over.
since our son lives in Millstone, we're gonna have, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's what you. Well,
One thing.
one of the things I thought of that might come out of this would be to have some sort of program or service where, for instance, we could collect all the batteries, and have a day where we collect all the batteries, and then someone, me for instance, could bring that to a Staples or to a place that takes batteries. We could collect, maybe we could have a recycling day, where some of these things could be collected, and then have them in.
Well, I know the town we lived in, moved from, Mendham, used to have styrofoam recycling
Yeah,
days.
mhm.
So, but that, okay, so,
Yeah.
and people would come and, I'm not sure what vendor they used.
Anything else?
If and as we learn new facts or have more probative questions,
Yes.
how could we follow up and share?
Use the Roosevelt Borough Green Team at gmail.com. So,
Great, thank you.
have some,
Thank you very much.
have some dessert.
Let's have some dessert.
Yeah,
Because if you have dessert, then you don't have
All
to
delicious.
recycle it.
that's right.
Right, yes, for compost.
It's mandatory
Very
to
good,
eat
thank you
dessert.
for all this. This is great.
Thanks for coming.
Sorry to be late.